Man, it's been a long time since I was in front of this camera. Like, I have not been doing these videos as often as I really should have. You know, I was looking over the list of all the ideas I had for these little intros, and I realized I had written most of these ideas like maybe a month ago, maybe even longer than that. I don't know what it is about ideas, but like when you first come up with an idea for something, especially if it has something to do with like comedy, it's usually a really good idea in the beginning. And once you actually like get to the point where you could use that idea, it looks really dumb. I'm looking through this list, I'm seeing stuff like, hey, comment on how people just act weird. And at first I thought, yeah, that could be really funny. Now I'm looking back at it like, that's a stupid idea. No, no, no. What is up, guys, and welcome to another episode of Rokz News, your hub for crazy, awesome, wacky, and just crazy news. So we have 3 new articles to check out today, so let's get to it. First up, we have in Peru news. Peruvian forces rescue a group of hostages who had been held captive for decades. Now, there was a group of people, it says 54 adults and children, who were held hostage, and so the Peruvian government finally decided to rescue them. I don't know if it was just the fact that they had fallen off the radar and these 52 people completely went missing and no one really needed them or something, which sounds really mean. But for whatever reason, these people weren't rescued for like literally 10, 20 to 30 years ago. So between the number of people that were there, they were all basically kidnapped within 20 to 30 years from when they were captured. I guess this was about a couple weeks ago. So think about that. You're like captured, and just imagine being the first guy. Like, you're just sitting there in a room like, well, this is awkward. And, like, I can't even imagine being that first guy and then just slowly seeing more and more people getting stuffed into this room or whatever. But for whatever reason, these 54 people were found. Now, my question, actually, one of my questions would be, if there was 54 adults and children, with the images actually showing several children in these pictures, my question is then, where did these children come from? Were they, like, kidnapped recently? Were these people who've been there longer, were they kidnapped as children and they just grew up? Like, I don't really understand how this kind of works. Because it looks like most of these people, even if they're like the adults, they look a little younger. So maybe they were just all kidnapped as children and held in this place as they grew up, and that's really creepy. Wow, that's really scary, actually. I didn't really think about that before. But, yeah, so that's quite interesting, I guess. And so finally, these people were rescued, and that's really, really good. I'm happy to hear about that. The guy who led the kidnapping obliteration or whatever was an anti-terrorism police chief by the name of General Jose Baella. That sounds right. And yeah, that was the guy who found these guys. Nice job, dude. You saved people who've been kidnapped for like 30 years. In cyborg news, body hackers, the people who turn themselves into cyborgs. Oh my goodness, I was reading this article and at first I was creeped out, dude. I was looking at these pictures of these people who are like so weird. Basically, this whole idea is people use things to upgrade their bodies, both electronic and organic. It's weird. I'm like, if you just look through the pictures real quick, this guy basically had a small human ear attached to his like forearm here, and it grew like a normal ear. And for some reason, this is effective for something. Here's the guy. I don't know if you can see that. That's an ear on his arm. And so he says that the ear is not going to be used for his own personal use, but he's going to use it to allow other people to hear. Why don't you, like, basically what he's saying is that for people who can't hear, like deaf people, he's going to give them the ability to hear through himself somehow. I guess maybe some sort of cyber link to their brains or something. So they hear from here, but then it's like cyber connected over Wi-Fi and things to go to your head. But I don't really know why this guy doesn't just come up with some way to replace someone else's ears so that they work, because that would make a lot more sense. This sounds like a really dumb idea. There's another guy who, he like cybernetic eyes, dude. This other, oh wow, this guy, he has like a cell phone under his skin. So he like calls people. He also checks his like blood and his temperature and stuff like that to make sure he's healthy, and it sends notifications to his phone if he has like a fever and stuff. You can't just bring around one of those little fever checkers that you stick in your ear, like, pa-ching! Okay, cool, I'm not freezing. But seriously, like, it's not that important. Do you really need something inside of your body to tell you that your body's doing weird things? No. There's this other guy who puts eye drops in his eyes, and first of all, creepy enough, these eye drops make his eyes glass over in like a black glaze, so his entire eyeballs are now like black, which is creepy enough. But for some reason, these eye drops that he's putting in his eyes give him night vision, so he can actually see people from I think up to 50 yards away at nighttime. Okay, well, or you could get some night vision goggles. I don't understand what the point of this is. Yo, you don't need to upgrade your body. I mean, like, literally, maybe if you're like a military tactician that never takes off your sunglasses, because no one wants to see that, dude. Your eyes are completely black. And finally, in Star Wars news. Now, everybody knows that the new Star Wars The Force Awakens is coming out this winter, December or something, I think. But you may not know that they're continuing the series, and they're making a bunch of other movies that are going to be like spin-offs. So they're going to be doing the full 7, 8, 9 trilogy for the continuation of Star Wars, but they're going to also make a bunch of spin-off movies. There is some speculation that there's going to be a Star Wars movie that kind of describes the Han Solo kind of like bringing up kind of thing. So he like, you know, grows up, he meets Chewbacca, they become friends, and then everything happens, and it's all good. That movie's thinking, but also Star Wars Rogue One. I know absolutely nothing about this movie, except for the fact that there was an official cast photo already released by the movie people. So, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this at all, but this is the cast photo right there. That's it. That's the cast. This looks like something out of, like, medieval times. Except for the giant engine in the background. This looks like something that could take place in, like, the 1600s. They're dressed like, I don't even know. You've seen Assassin's Creed. Well, he kind of looks like these guys in Assassin's Creed. Oh, man, there's an assassin! No! That's what these guys are dressed like. Why? Why? No. It's weird. It doesn't even give the names of the people who are going to be acting. It just gives this picture. So unless you really know your actors, you have no idea who's in this movie. And that's unfortunate. So yeah, this is another one of those spin-off movies that's going to be happening. So, reading a little bit more into this, apparently Rogue One will be taking place before the original Star Wars, A New Hope. And it'll kind of like separate itself, but it'll kind of show more of the galactic struggle side of the series instead of just specifically like rebels and Empire, but more of like kind of other people who were doing their own thing to like go against the government and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much what this movie looks like it's going to be. That sounds kind of interesting, I guess. Thank you guys for checking out this episode of Rokz News. Please leave a like if you liked, leave a dislike if you didn't like, and comment to send me some articles that I can read. Also, subscribe to check out some more videos, and I will see you guys in the next one.